What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin has fallen back out of our blue zone territory, falling down to some of these support levels. In fact, you can see we got all the way down to about $46,600. So what is the deal with Bitcoin? Why is Bitcoin stalling? Well, with only 2 days left for 2021 as we move into 2022, what should we be expecting for the Bitcoin price? Now, we have talked about the fact that the 4-year cycle is, well, technically over, right? So if we do go with what Bitcoin traditionally does, then we should have topped out and then we should be going into the bear market. However, we are looking at these lengthening cycles. So I do want to have a little bit of a review, look back at 2021, see how good the year was, what was bad about it, what was good about it. And I also want to discuss what we are looking forward to in 2022, some of the biggest trends that are going to be most likely happening, and I'll let you know one specific trend that I am extremely bullish on and I'm going to be paying attention to very hardcore. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. And without further ado, let's have a look at what is going on with Bitcoin. So having a look at what is going on right now, we do see that Bitcoin is currently testing a very important legacy support. Yes, obviously we have fallen out of the blue zone, but you can see here where we had this very nice pivot right back here where Bitcoin went essentially, from down around $17,000 and had the blast off move up to 42,000. If we do follow this spider line up here, you can see that it did act as resistance and support right here. And currently it did act as support, but we are sitting on this level right now. So there are some fears that potentially Bitcoin could be falling. And not only that, but if we have a look at the even larger legacy trend that we put in all the way down here, where we started to have the blast off move at around $17,700, you will notice that, of course, again, we did have major support. We had support here. We had support here. We didn't really have support here, but we came pretty damn close to it on that crazy liquidation slide, and we did, in fact, have support here. So we are at a very critical level for Bitcoin. Now, there was something else that I had pointed out that was a legacy RSI trend, relative strength index, right? Now, this trend has been going on for over 3 years now. This happened back in 2018 when we had the massive 50% dump, toward the end of the bear market. And you could see right here that if we actually zoom in, I don't know if you guys could see this right here. Okay, so we had, actually, I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. I can move this box up. Let me see if I can just move this up quick. Yeah, here we go. There you go. Now you can see it nice and clear. So you could see, we did have this bounce right here, right? We came up, we came down, we had the bounce again. Even during the accumulation phase, right, we had multiple bounces on this level, and we did just currently have one more bounce. However, we were sort of rejected from this basis line, and it is pushing us down. So we really don't want to see the RSI fall below 38.34. That could be very bad for Bitcoin, or it could be a good buying opportunity depending on how you look at it. But the way that I'm looking at it is you would definitely be breaking a multi-year trend, right? But at the end of the day, my friends, it is 2 days until the new year, and we do know that occasionally at the end of the year, well, things can get a little bit crazy. But I mean, if we measure this from the open of the year, right, to essentially where we are right now, Bitcoin still had a 61% increase even over all the madness that happened in the middle. And if you have a look right here, shout out to Binky Ponderosa, just wanted to point out that if we actually look at the investor cap multiple, you'll notice that anytime we're over 10, it's considered overvalued, and anytime it's below 2, it's considered a buy zone. Well, currently right here, if you have a look at where we sort of are in these trends, we are nowhere near the tops of these cycles. In fact, look at how low we are. No, we're not exactly in a perfect, super amazing buy zone, but we're not exactly anywhere near being at the oversold territory or the overheated territory either. And, we had Real Vision CEO Raoul Pal. He actually talked about why we could be seeing this sort of depressing sideways, even, investors dumping sort of at the end of the year. And he says that it's probably due to the institutions selling to help shore up their end of year profits. He said, considering that much of the selling in December has come from wallets that accumulated Bitcoin around the summertime, plus the fact that institutional assets under management surged in around May and October, the timing of the selling does point to institutional investors and institutions unloading their bags. He says it looks like they're done because the market has been chopping around for the past week. So he's saying this is probably it. They're probably, they could even be doing some tax loss harvesting, right? If they bought a little bit high, right? They do this at the end of the year for taxes. So he does say that while he predicts there could be some further selling potentially out of Asia, he does anticipate 2022 to begin with a very strong start for cryptocurrency as institutions start to redeploy their capital. And also because they realize the ever increasing adoption of Bitcoin technology, right? So we obviously talked about that, and I showed you guys the massive increase that we had year end after year end, and we are hopefully going to have the the bounce. I mean, even if you switch this to, just for example, the yearly chart for Bitcoin, you can see right here that, we've had a pretty amazing year for Bitcoin. So, and I don't know why it's not showing the rest. I know why, because I didn't put it into auto. Here we go. Yeah. So, I mean, guys, if I get rid of all this and I take this out over here and we just have a look at what's going on, it wasn't a bad year. Really, for Bitcoin. I mean, really, ultimately, Bitcoin usually only has one really bad year followed by 3 good years. So this is why I said if we are saying that this is going to be a traditional Bitcoin cycle, then yes, we would be looking to put in that red candle, and we are going to go into that bear market, right? We're going to go into that bear trend. But if you are a firm believer in the lengthening cycles for Bitcoin, which I personally am, because I don't think the 4-year cycle has as much impact on Bitcoin, well, then things could look quite bright for the future of Bitcoin. And also, just so you guys see, I mean, originally we did have 4 years of green, in the beginning, dating back to 2010. So we don't really have a lot of data to go off of, obviously, but what we can go, the data that we do know is that Bitcoin does continue to go up and to the right, essentially, forever. But let's talk about some of the big achievements of 2021. People upset, Bitcoin only gained 60%. Right, but look at what is happening fundamentally in the background. We have El Salvador being the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. We also have the United Arab Emirates, or the UAE, emerging as one of the most crypto-friendly countries in 2021. Why do you think all these guys are moving to Dubai, right? Man, I would move there if I didn't have so much family and responsibilities locally. Number 3, Canada crushing it, right, with global ETF race. They had the world's first physically settled Bitcoin ETF at the beginning of this year. This was launched by Canadian investment firm Purpose Investments in mid-February, and it saw an explosive debut at around $564 million under asset. We also have over in Singapore, according to their regulator, they said crypto is investment in a prospective future. In November, Singapore welcomed 2 new institutional grade Bitcoin funds launched by the Fintonia Group. And finally, Gibraltar, crazy news, right? New target for Huobi exchange after the Chinese had their crackdown. So, Gibraltar is a British overseas territory, a very small country, but you could see in November, they welcomed, it's called Bullish, actually, a new cryptocurrency exchange launched by EOS.io, developer Block One. In September, the GFSC also approved operations of Zuber Exchange Limited, and the government of Gibraltar has been strengthening its ties with global blockchain and crypto industry players. So it has definitely been an amazing year for Bitcoin. And if we just have a look, if you've ever been over to DCABTC.com, this just shows you if you were to, let's say, starting 3 years ago, you accumulated for 3 years, you bought weekly, and let's say you bought $100 worth of Bitcoin. every single week, you would have invested 15,700 and the total value today would be worth 87,376. So even though Bitcoin may be boring and you're not getting those 100x gains, you're also not being, you're not risking as much. And you could see that long term, even had you bought at the absolute tops, you still would be doing quite well for Bitcoin. But some people might be saying, well, what's going on with the retail? How come, for example, over here, on Google Trends, we're seeing a decrease in searches for Bitcoin? Well, my honest answer is I think at this point, most people just simply know what Bitcoin is. I don't think of course, there's people who don't know how it works, but they're not really like trying to figure it out or search for it or learn about it. And if you scroll down here, for example, you can see that NFTs are actually doing quite well. They're actually pretty high, which means that, right now people are looking into different things. They're looking into NFTs. They're looking into DeFi. They're looking into Metaverse. Of course, Bitcoin is always the granddaddy, the gold 2.0. But even, for example, ProShares, which did launch the first Bitcoin ETF in the US, even though it was cash settled, you could see now that they filed to list a Metaverse-themed ETF that would track the performance of the selective Metaverse-themed index, which includes things like Apple, Meta, which is Facebook now, and, things like Unreal Games and even NVIDIA, which does graphics cards required to render 3D worlds. So there is a lot of that interest, And I want to ask you guys a question because, there was this sort of thing and somebody on Twitter, they said, if I had $100,000, right? Or even just $10,000, whatever number you think, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just for an example. So let's just go with 100,000, right? Let's say you have 100,000 and you want to try to become a millionaire, right? So you'd have to 10x that $100,000. So you could go all in on Bitcoin and then you'd have to wait for Bitcoin to do a 10x, or they're saying, would you rather go into 10 smaller cap coins at 10,000 a pop? And if one of them, does 100x, well, then that would, you know what I'm trying to say? So maybe some people are they're starting to diversify right now, right? Bitcoin it has gotten a little bit expensive for the average person. I still do believe that in the longevity of Bitcoin, in our lifetime, it's still very, very early. And it's also one of, if not the safest bets in cryptocurrency. But if you do want to be more risk adverse, then of course there are other opportunities, which is why this channel focuses primarily on Bitcoin. But I also do like to bring opportunities because a 1% allocation, a 2% allocation into these other projects, if those projects do 100% and you're doing a 1% allocation, right? And it does 100x, then you've completely matched essentially your portfolio, which is insane. And also, before we get into the rest of it, I just want to remind you guys super quick that CoinWeb, they do have their sale ongoing right now. This is over on VLaunch. I told you guys about this. Now we know that they are a cross-chain computation platform. I think this is very important for crypto. I think that interoperability is an absolute must, okay? Because, you're dealing with things on Solana, on Ethereum, on Avalanche, on Polkadot, on Elrond, and, Terra Luna, and it's just crazy, right? So I do believe that we're going to need these types of things. CoinWeb looks like they are going to be putting themselves at the forefront, not to mention the fact that, obviously I told you guys to hold and stake the VLaunch tokens so you can get access to this. This is going to be launching on KuCoin, Bittrex, Bitmark, Gate.io, MEXC Global, and of course Uniswap as well. But just wanted to bring that up to you guys and let you know that, I told you about it, but the sale is currently ongoing right now. But you can see the interest. For example, Metaverse Gaming platform Ready Player Me announced a $13 million Series A funding. This platform is going to utilize the capital to advance ambitions for avatar interoperability between metaverse worlds. The initiative supports the thesis of multiple digital dimensions as opposed to a singular model. So that's kind of the problem with Facebook Meta right now, is they're trying to sort of be the be-all, end-all sort of metaverse, right? But we know that it's a lot bigger than that. It's going to be a lot bigger than that. And there's just a lot going on, guys. I mean, Abu Dhabi says that they're ramping up to become the Middle East's crypto hub. They're looking to focus on anti-money laundering and, other things of that nature. You also have the richest man in Asia saying, is he really Asia's richest person? He has more money than Jack Ma? I don't know. That's what Bloomberg says. we'll just trust Bloomberg. Anyway, the guy has a lot of money, okay? And he said that he sees the benefits of blockchain technology and expects India to soon have one of the world's most advanced digital infrastructures, a tool that can generate equitable prosperity across society. And having a look at just some of the things that Arcane Research is looking forward to in 2022, or things that they're anticipating, they think that Bitcoin will outperform the S&P 500. I agree with that. XRP and Cardano will fall out of the top 10. That's a little bit controversial. Alternative layer ones will continue to outperform ETH. Yeah, probably. I mean, there's always going to be, honestly, yeah. I mean, things like, for example, Solana, even Elrond, and I'm pretty excited about Phantasma. I think you guys know that. They say traditional gaming companies will increasingly add NFTs. Even more crypto companies will go public and have valuations above 5 billion. Bitcoin ETFs will hold more than 1 million Bitcoin by the end of 22. And they also believe that hash rate will become even more geographically distributed. But if I had to tell you one specific trend that I think is going to be absolutely massive in 2022, I think it's going to be the rise of the DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization. I personally think that, if you're going to be building out all these different metaverses and you really want it to truly be decentralized, well, how do you make decisions? How do you have governance, right? Now, we've tried DAOs. They've been around for a while. They're nothing new in the crypto space, but I don't think that crypto or the blockchain space was really truly ready for DAOs just yet. But I think that in crypto's current state and our current form, with all of this advances that we're having in DeFi and NFTs, and especially the gaming sector, play to earn games specifically, I think that DAOs could definitely be something to keep your eyes on in 2022. So let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? We know that crypto always has these hot trends in and out, but that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. Don't stress it too much. 2 more days to the end of the year. I don't anticipate anything crazy happening in the next 2 days personally. Anything can happen, but honestly, I would just chill and just kind of sit back and relax and just wait for the new year. And then obviously Q1 starts in, everybody resets their books. Those that want to claim their tax losses, they can do that. And then I do believe that we are going to have an incredible Q1 for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and the entire space as a whole. So that is it for me. Thank you for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You are the reason that I make these videos in the first place. Of course, if you have not watched these videos right here, right now, do yourself a favor, check them out, do not miss out, and until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.